Tune in for an engaging and thought-provoking listening experience. It's on now. The Drop with S.A. Doc. Yeah, boy, what's good in the motherfucking hood? It's your boy S.A. motherfucking Doc. Rock the spot, keeping it hot. Got it on lock, going to the top. About to drop. Yo, what the fuck is good? Lot going on, man. Got a lot of things going on. Let me put some motherfucking music on. Let me go into my my playlist here and see what kind of music and shit. Let's put on a new music mix, you know what I mean? Oh, Schoolboy Q got a new one. Yay. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of things going on in the motherfucking news. Something that's going on right now that's of pretty big relevance is they're trying to ban TikTok, y'all. They're trying to ban TikTok. So there was a bill that was proposed, and I mean it just needs to be signed into law pretty much because it actually passed. So, basically it argues that it threatens national security because the Chinese government could use TikTok to spy on Americans or weaponize it to covertly influence the U.S. public by amplifying or suppressing certain content. Now, what does that mean? So basically, they're saying that the Chinese can use it as a propaganda machine. And that's crazy. Because if they fear that an app can be used as a propaganda machine to manipulate and influence people's minds, then you know that it's already being used in that way. All the apps are already being used as propaganda instruments, and they just don't want the Chinese competing, for that space in your mind. They're like, no. We want to control what goes into their minds. We don't want your algorithm, I guess, influencing our people. Right? But I mean, what happened to, freedom of speech and us determining what it is that, that we want to consume, that we want to believe? It's like, are we idiots? Right? We're not idiots. Obviously, if we live in the United States and we're happy living here, there's no need to attempt to control, manipulate the minds of the people, right? If you just tell them the truth. Oh my God, that last song had like this honking like noise, and it was pretty annoying. So, anyways, so they're basically saying no, we want to manipulate them. You don't manipulate them. We want to manipulate them, right? It's like people are not just these, instruments to be manipulated, but it actually validates the power of, what you consume and how that it can influence you. I mean, to me, it basically validates that the things that you hear every single day have the ability to influence you and to maybe brainwash you. So we should consume moderately, but they say that the same thing about drinking, right? Drink responsibly. How many of you motherfuckers drink responsibly? when you go out to drink? Look how just, the recommendation is that I should consume, one drink if you're a woman or if you're a smaller man or, regular sized man can consume 2 drinks per sitting. So everyone says that shit, huh? When you get pulled over, it's like, how many drinks have you had? I had 2. The recommended amount, how much is that? 2? Yeah, the recommended amount. Yeah. It was actually 2 cups or like 5 ounces of hard liquor on each one. So does that count as 2 drinks? Right. So this ban could go into effect, I think, as soon as like maybe 6 months or so. They could be banning TikTok, y'all. But, this has been talked about before. I think Donald Trump had brought it up before that he wanted to cancel TikTok. And, and that went away. But, this is actually a bill that passed. And it just needs to, be signed into law. And it goes into effect. And then I don't know what the process would be like after that if they have a certain amount of time. I think they want the company, ByteDance, to sell its stake, right? So it's no longer controlled by the Chinese government. They want them to do that. And I think the CEO of TikTok came out and said, hey, well, we're not going to do that. So worst comes to worst, if this does get signed into law, then, there's not going to be any more TikTok for, anyone in the United States. And that's going to be that. So let's see what happens. I mean, TikTok said that, that they have a server or a bunch of servers in Texas, and everything kind of gets filtered out through there. As far as all the information that, China has access to, and they're trying to be as transparent as possible. But I guess it's still not enough, and yeah. So let's see what happens. So how would you feel if they canceled TikTok? Would you be upset? Would you, what would you do now with your fingers, with your thumb? They're going to need to sell some kind of like fidget thing, right? In order for you to keep that motion going with your thumb, right? Because, I think TikTok has definitely, got us all hooked. And what's going to happen with the TikTok creators? Because if you notice, there's no app that really pays like TikTok as far as paying the creators. If you have, a decent following on TikTok and you have some, decent content, you get some lot of views, you make more money on TikTok than anywhere else. YouTube, Instagram, all that. There's a lot of people that make a living off of TikTok. It's like you show up to the car dealership and, where do you work? Well, I'm a creator at TikTok. And I average, between 1,000 and 5,000 a day when I go live. Some people are making ridiculous money on TikTok. So I definitely wouldn't want it to go away. And it makes you question if the reason why they're trying to ban TikTok is to try to monopolize all the other apps, right? Because if this app is actually paying creators a substantial amount, substantially more than any other apps. Like if you go live on Instagram or any other app, right? They're not going to pay you nearly as much, if anything at all, compared to TikTok. So I'm wondering if, it's the other app companies that are against TikTok. They want to monopolize. Or maybe they think it's unfair, the money that they pay to their creators. Right? Because you would want to go to TikTok and create on TikTok if they're paying you. It's only fair. Right? So it's kind of fucked up that they would want to ban it. And all the people that make a living on there creating content, that they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So, you're going to have to go out and get a job, a job. You know, you're going to have to go out and get a resume. Like, what are your skills? Creating dope vids, going live. I can do a mean dance in front of a phone, right? So yeah, let's see what happens with TikTok. If I were you, I would start weaning myself off of it right now. Just start weaning off of it and find something else. The good thing about it is this may open up opportunity for someone else to come in and develop something very similar to TikTok. And, so long as they pay the creators well, people will be jumping on board, with that boat when that ship sails or docks. So let's see what happens. But, our democracy has spoken. And they have deemed that if they don't sell TikTok, that TikTok poses a security threat to the United States. So that's that. But then you might actually have to go out there and actually live your life now. If there's no TikTok anymore, because what are you gonna do now? And, maybe is TikTok bad for us, maybe? So much of it? Getting your dopamine hit, just laying there on the couch or on your bed, scrolling, just laughing, being stimulated, right, by what you're hearing and what you're seeing. Does it kind of put you in that matrix mode? Like you're just sitting there, couch locked, right, just looking, being entertained, giving your eye energy to this thing versus all the people that are around you, all the human beings that you could be spending time with. Think about it. 30 years from now, 40 years from now, when you're in your deathbed, could be sooner than that, right? But, hopefully, right, best case scenario, you're old, you're in bed, got all your family members around you, maybe, or maybe you just have your phone. You're on live, right? That could be the case. And because we're all going to get there at some point, and you're going to think back and say, hey, what should I have done different? I think that's just a natural thought that you're going to have, right? What would I have done differently? And I don't think spending more time on social media would be one of them. Maybe the opposite. Maybe you would think like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have wasted all those years on social media. I wish I would have hung out, with my family more and done more things and gone out exploring. I don't think that, it will be thinking like, oh, I should have captured more of those things on my phone and posted it for people to see, because it perpetuates the same thing, right? Where you're just trying to capture others' attention so they can see that you went out hiking, and they don't go out hiking because they're on their phone watching you go hiking. You see what I'm saying? So I would think, you know what? Maybe I would spend a lot less fucking time on my phone. Looking at it, recording shit, posting up things that don't matter. Maybe I would spend a lot less time on my phone. Now, I'm not anti-creating, right? Because if you're a genuine creator and you're creating content and you spend time and you put a lot of effort into, creating your content and putting it out there, then cool. You occasionally want to post something about you so your family can see it. Maybe you went out, you had a good meal or something, you were out and about, you want to share that with your family, cool. But, when you have to do it all the time for no reason, right? We're all guilty of it. I think years back, right, when I first like started on social media, right, you take every single picture of every meal that you eat, all the angles, right? It's like, why? I don't know, why do we do that? And why do we like to watch it, right? Ooh, that looks good. I guess I enjoy the occasional food pic and where the bomb tacos are, you know what I'm saying? Where the bomb sushi is, where the bomb noodles are, I like to know those things. Now, see, those are the things that I actually appreciate about TikTok, is that you can find like the cool spots to go out and take your family out. Like during the holidays, you can see people, posting a video and they do really good reviews and you're like, okay, that's dope. I want to go there. I think those things are useful. I think that's the purpose of having social media. It's beneficial. There's a lot of good information out there. If you want to learn about something, how do I change my engine in my Chevy? you know, and you'll probably see some things on TikTok about it and some things on YouTube. There's a lot of helpful things out there, and it's good to distract yourself every once in a while too. I'm not saying that you shouldn't distract yourself. I think you totally should, but overall social media, again, if you're looking back at your life, I really doubt that, you'll be regretting, not posting more videos. Again, unless your creator is trying to do something and you didn't, and you're like, man, I should have went, harder on this. As far as the cycle of posting, the pace, right? So I can be successful or whatnot. But in general, I don't think that spending more time on social media would be something that, that would be something that you regret. It's like working, right? Like, I wish I would have worked more. No, in retrospect, I think like you would want to enjoy life more, I think. That's the answer that I got. It's like, you know what? At the end of the day, I wish I would have made the most out of every single day of my life. I wish I would have made more of it as far as spend time with the people that I care about and go out, walk around, see the sights, talk to people, experience everything the world has to offer, even on a small scale, right? But be present in the moment. Not be distracted by just constantly being on my phone. Or again, working, if you're a workaholic and you work all the time too, you probably want to get out and like live life more, even if it's just, taking some random walk, to the store and saying hi to the clerk and having a quick conversation, and connect with another human being, go out and feel the air, look at the sun or look at the clouds or, feel the raindrops, something, and then also, social media has made it to, where it actually, hurts. It does help us to stay connected with a lot of people that we otherwise wouldn't be able to be connected with. So I'm not saying that, that it's all bad. I really don't think it is. With everything, there's a balance, right? Consume responsibly. But also a lot of people take advantage of it. Because when you think about it, like social media has made it to like where you can connect with anybody at anywhere in the world. So how easy does it make it for you to cheat, or to, have friendships with other people, that maybe you wouldn't have if you didn't have the social media, right? So, what has social media done for, relationships and families too, and this goes for the guys and for the girls, because, guys might be sitting there, looking at, that, hoochie mama with the little shorts on, and he's just consuming that as if that's, like the norm, and or you want that out of your spouse or something, you know what I mean? Like, so it kind of takes your eyes away from what you have in your life, and kind of sets up these unrealistic expectations. But girls, it does the same thing for you too, because when you go on online and you see people on a boat, and you're like, why am I not on the boat? Babe, why don't you take me on the boat? You don't love me? Right? And you really don't know the behind the scenes, like the context, aside from that you're seeing someone that is having an experience and maybe you would like to have. So, it sets up all these unrealistic, expectations, and, and it gives you more anxiety, I think. I think social media can give you more anxiety because, so again, if, they want to ban TikTok because they're saying that it could brainwash you, right? So they're acknowledging that it has the power to fuck with your head, right? So if you're looking at TikTok and it's giving you all these, relationship things, and there's everyone and their mama is on TikTok, trying to give relationship advice, just hatred, there's guys that are hating on women, there's girls that are hating on men. Both of them are hurt. So who hurt you, right? Somebody hurt them, and that's okay. You got to use human-centric language here, not demonize people for going through shit, not demonize people for giving bad advice. It is what it is. Hurt people, yeah, but they're still not demons, you know what I'm saying? Even though they act like demons sometimes. You can put them in the context of, this demon is trying to ruin my life, but no, that's a hurt human being. They have no other way to cope. And they're just, this is how they process. It's by, maybe, giving out this information or whatnot, or lashing out, or having a certain opinion. Why do they have that certain opinion? I mean, obviously they got fucked over. There's a guy on social media, Poppy Don, I think his name is. And he was on a podcast called Tacos and Shawarma. And so Shorty's a single mom. Her kid's maybe 5 or something like that. And she also recently had her baby dad on there. And so she had this guy, Poppy Don, on the show. And he's known on social media for basically like trashing men. Like he'll go on and say, yeah, your baby daddy ain't shit because he does this and that. So he gives the girls a lot of game about, about how to run game on these men from a man's perspective, right? Which is basically what a pimp does. And I think Homeboy was a pimp at some point. Again, I don't know, but I think he is. I've been around a lot of people, and I can, I can get a good, pretty good judge of character that this guy may have, took part in a little bit of the gentleman of leisure, type of shit back in the day. Maybe now, I don't know, but because that's what a pimp does. A pimp will tell his prostitute the game about how to manipulate, men, how to run your game. He's letting you know, right, how men are triggered, how to manipulate. He knows how he gets manipulated, or how he's been manipulated. So that's the game that he's going to give you so that you can go manipulate the men, right? So, ladies, eat that up, right? As soon as there's a man, talking shit on all the men, it's like the ladies are like, woo, standing ovation. Yes, yes, Lord. Finally, one of these men that actually agrees the man ain't shit, right? But so this guy, made a lot of content, and again, talking shit about men, and how to play them, kind of make shit to your benefit. So it was a trip when I saw him on this podcast, because Shorty, the Shorty that does the podcast, she's from New York, but she's now out in LA, but she's definitely got that New York vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like she's got that New York attitude, you know, that just tough attitude, like you can't fuck with me attitude, you know? And she's really good with, you know, some of the questions that she asked. She's tough. So it was interesting to see Homeboy on that podcast. But in that podcast, he said, you know what? The things that I tell y'all to do are the things that happened to me. It's like basically I'm using myself as an example. Homeboy has like 4 baby moms and 4 kids. And he says that he's a womanizer. Right. So that's why he kind of teaches them to do the same, be a manonizer, I guess, right? Is that what you would call it? A manonizer? Womanizer, a manonizer? So, but yeah, he said, you know what? Honestly, you know, I am the guy that I tell all the women, that I warn all the women against, right? So he warns women to, you know, not, you know, get with these certain type of guys, or that these certain type of guys are going to play them. But then he admits to being one of those guys, right? But he's very charismatic, so he can get away with it, you know? But yeah, so, you know, relationships are tough. And then on social media, there's people giving out advice that you should not be incorporating into your life. You really have to trust yourself. All this stuff is entertainment. Like, don't take something that you see on social media. I mean, there's some podcasts that are very good, right? And you have to discern, like, what stuff is entertainment, what stuff is information. You have to sort through it. Right, like that Poppy Don stuff. That is not information. That's entertainment, you know. But you know, a lot of girls were taking it like it's information. Like, yo, he's got some good information, and then you apply that to your life, and then you're basically like one of his 4 baby mamas now. You know, because this guy is a mujeriego. He is a womanizer. He's a player. He's a Mac. He's a pimp. Right. So if you're taking advice from that, then that's the outcomes that you're going to have. You're going to have pimpish outcomes. But, you know, do you really want to be a pimp? You don't want to be a pimp. Have you met a pimp? How many pimps do you know? How many pimps have you known in your life? Because I can tell you that the pimp game is not as glorified as people think it is. People think it's all cool and mysterious and this, you know, fantasy life. And, you know, in a sense, that's the whole point of the game, is to create this facade. You know, it's to create your they call it your front, like a storefront, right? You got to decorate it so you can, you know, bring people in the doors. So it's a front. You got to have your front, you know, and that's all there is, though. It's like a narcissist. It's an empty shell on the inside, right? You're all front until everything runs out, you know, and then and then you got nothing. Again, you know, how many pimps do you know? You know, the pimping ends. Things end. You got to have a way out. There's very few pimps that actually, you know, turned their situation into a different situation legitimately, and we're able to get out of the game, you know? So, but again, you know, you hear a guy giving you this information, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, you know what? I got fucked over, you know, by this dude. So I need every piece of information I can so I can strike back, you know what I'm saying? Or so I don't get hurt again. So, but again, it's just a lot of good information out there. Like I said, you know, David Goggins, for example, if you want to look, you know, at stuff like that, then that stuff, you want that stuff to influence you. That's cool. Lex Friedman is another one. You know, Lex Friedman has a lot of good people. He had the RZA on there. He had Jeff Bezos on there talking about the way that he operates his business. He had Elon Musk on there. He had so many people. He had Kanye on there. But again, that didn't go really well. But, you know, it's Ye, so no interviews go well with Ye. But there's a lot of podcasts that have really good information, good takeaways. Like, again, if you're looking for ways to operate your business better, some legitimate relationship advice you can find. But you really got to sort through it, because the relationship advice, it's really geared to just stimulate people's emotions. It's kind of like the news. So there's a lot of negative stuff out there, right? Because they know that you may be going through some shit, and they want to capture your attention because you're vulnerable. And then they'll give you some fucked up advice that's going to make your situation worse. Even though it feels good in that moment, it's really not really good advice. So for relationship and stuff, go see a therapist. Really, like, sit down and maybe analyze your situation, and sort it out. Really sort it out like you would sort out any other problem. Because your situation is not necessarily like anyone else's situation. Although you want to take a quick pill that'll make you feel better, right? A pill via like a social media post or something that you think describes your situation and solves it for you, or gives you some kind of insight, right? But it's something to just numb the pain in that real moment, in that quick moment. But it doesn't really help you in the long term. So you really have to sort your stuff out. Talk to the people within your circle, people that you trust, maybe people that have a good relationship, an ideal relationship. Like I said, talk to a therapist, and maybe try to have a sit down with the person that you're having challenges with the other part of that relationship, and be open and honest with them, but allow them to talk too, right? And really try to understand that person, put down your ego, understand that person, explain yourself so they understand you, try to communicate your side, and then try to collectively come to like a middle ground, like adults, right? So again, there's a lot of stuff on social media. Some of it is helpful and some of it is not, right? Because there's also the wandering eyes paradox. Right? And I think, ladies, I think this is more towards you, because guys really don't have, unless you're like the 1% of guys. Like, if you're, maybe tall and handsome, and you make a certain amount of money, you're successful, then, maybe you have more choices than like the average guy, right? But you ladies have all the choices, even the hyenas that are like not super good looking, right? I think ladies overall have just way more of a choice. Pretty much any hyena on there has choices, where there's a lot of guys that have like no choices at all. Like, if you think on a number scale from like 1 to 10, like maybe guys, maybe like 6 and up might have a few choices, but hyenas literally from 1 to 10, and y'all got some kind of choice, right? And the hotter that you are, the more choices you got. So, but I mean, that can give you anxiety too. There's this thing called the paradox of choice. So, why more is less, right? It's a book by Barry Schwartz. It was published in 2004, and it was more done about consumer choices, like eliminating consumer choices to reduce anxiety. So it was found that the more choices that you have, it creates anxiety because you have too much to choose from and too much for your brain to process. So the same thing is, going on with social media. If you have like all these options, you got like 30 dudes hitting your inbox, right? It, could give you some, anxiety. It's a lot to choose from, versus when your choices are reduced. Let's say you can only meet people via, daily interactions that you have, but they may be better quality. And again, because the choice is lessened, right? You have less of a choice, or perceived choice, because a lot of those aren't even really choices, because, there's, at the end of the day, there's still guys. So if you broke up with your ex-boyfriend because he acted like a guy, right? A lot of these guys, new guys, are going to come in, present themselves differently, but at the end, you know what? They're still dudes. You know what I'm saying? They still throw their chonies on the floor. They still leave their socks on the floor. They shave and they leave their hairs all over the sink. right? When you find a new one and then he does that to you, you're like, God, man, not again. I thought he was different. No, I hate men. Why? Why you motherfuckers don't groom right? Brush your teeth. Right? So, but it creates the illusion, I guess, of a lot of different choice, but as far as like, who's truly different, I don't know. Maybe there isn't that many choices there, or someone that's actually gonna be good to you, be a good partner to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, not only that, but someone who's a good survival partner. I think you would definitely want someone that, can help you, in a zombie apocalypse and shit, that's resourceful, takes care of things day to day, all those things, you know what I'm saying? So, speaking of podcasts, Mexican OT was recently on Joe Rogan. Big ups to Mexican OT. I was tripping when I seen that. I was like, yo, man, dude is really on Joe Rogan right now. That's crazy. And, he held his own. I mean, I think. Dude has been blowing up so quickly, and it's so crazy that this dude is on Joe Rogan. I mean, Trump can't even get on Joe Rogan, but Mexican OT is on Joe Rogan. So check it out on, I think it's on YouTube. If not, probably Spotify. But it's a dope interview, man. It's a dope interview. He was talking about like when he was little, he used to live with his mom, and his mom was kind of like a drug kingpin or something, allegedly. And rest in peace. She passed away, I think. But he grew up around seeing all that stuff, like in the game, and being surrounded by like drugs and stuff like that. And I think his dad was also like like in the game. I know he was in prison. So he kind of grew up around that. But the way that he talks about his dad is with a lot of love, because his dad always inspired him and wanted to encourage him to do his music. He would have him freestyle like for his friends. Well, when he would have company over at the house, he would have them come out and freestyle, maybe battle some of the guys that thought that they were rappers. So this is something that was encouraged and supported like very early on, and even by his mom too. I think his mom really supported his music, and this guy's just really, really organic, with his music, and it's really a part of him. He's a real artist with his music and shit. But he said, basically all I want out of life is I just want to be happy. I just want love. So at the end of the day, no matter what it is that we do, at the end of the day, we still all, just crave a connection, like a truly genuine connection, with somebody. So if we all get out of our egos, and our egos is like probably a summary of our past and how we solve problems, right? So ego is definitely helpful, right? Because you can implement it to solve problems in certain things like work and stuff like that, or to figure out, a problem that actually has a solution. But when it comes to like human beings, if you want to connect, you want to remove that ego, you want to bring less of that ego to the table when you're trying to connect with someone, and be acceptant. Be acceptant. Is that what it is? Of other people, right? Everything's not an argument. I was on TikTok and I saw this couple. They're like, kind of a couple that does like holistic medicine and stuff. Holistic medicine. I think they maybe dabble in shroom stuff like that. I don't know. I think they had a shroom emoji, so I'm guessing, right? But they're in a backyard and they're very chill. They look like they have a nice house, very, very chill backyards, trees, and a pool. And they're just sitting there, talking about mindfulness. And they're saying that if you got too much going on in your mind, that, you're minding too much. is what they said. You're minding too much. And maybe you need not to mind, right? So if somebody's a certain way, you can just say, well, I don't mind. I don't mind that, you're like this. I don't mind, right? So sometimes when our mind is overly active, it's because we're minding too much. And we need not to mind, like other people, what other people are doing, what other people are saying. Don't mind people on social media. Don't mind it. It's all about reducing your anxiety and then just living more in the moment, day to day. So yeah, get out of your head and go outside. And live a little and connect. So, all these things happening in the news. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if y'all heard about, I'm pretty sure y'all heard about it, Jake Paul's fight Mike Tyson. Jake Paul is fighting Mike fucking Tyson, y'all. It's fucking crazy. What do y'all think about that? Now, Jake Paul is 27, okay? He's 5'11". All right, so I thought Jake Paul was tall. I'm going to put it on record here, okay? I'm 5'11 and a half. All right, and I bumped up the half inch, right? Like, no, I'm 6 foot. I'm 6 foot tall. I want to be 6 foot so bad, right? But nah, I'm 5'11 and a half. But it's like nowadays, all these kids are like so darn tall, My son, who's in his 20s, is early 20s, is like 6'3", 6'4", and yeah, I'm like, it's crazy, and yeah, he's my son. I know he's my son because, you can tell, right, by the faces that they make. But yeah, he's going to be turning 24 this year. He was born in 2000. So he's going to be turning 24 this year. It's wild. But yeah, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. So again, Jake Paul is 5'11". Again, that's how tall I am. I'm 5'11 and a half. Not quite 6 foot tall. Okay. But, if I put on like some Air Force Ones, then I'm 6 foot tall. Might be like, maybe 6'1". with my heels on. But, for some reason, I thought Mike Tyson was 5'11 and a half. A long time ago, I'd seen it somewhere. It's changed. And you can actually pull up old fights. And you can see how, like, Mike Tyson was, like, 5'11 and a half. And it's like, dude, so he's 5'10". And again, I mean, it's only one's 5'11", one's 5'10". It's not a major difference. Although, when they were face-to-face with each other, Jake Paul seemed a little bit taller than Mike Tyson, like, considerably. So again, he may have had like boots on or something, or shoes with like a thick sole or something, But yeah, so he's 27. Mike Tyson is 58. He's 58. He's 31 years older than Jake Paul. That's crazy. That is crazy. He's 31 years older than this dude. Okay, so who do you got? Who do you think is going to win? Y'all think Jake Paul's going to get rocked, and get dropped, shut him down, open up shop? Oh. But yeah, I mean, I think Mike Tyson can drop him for sure because he's still got like the movement. But, I tell you what, if he comes in and he tries to fight and he fights the way that he fought Roy Jones, then it's going to be a weak fight, because I don't like how Mike Tyson came out when he was fighting Roy Jones Jr. I thought he was slow, and Mike Tyson said that he smoked a joint before he went out and he was on shrooms. It's like, dude, man, come on, man. It's like, Mike Tyson should definitely know better to, like, respect the sport a little more, because I know that when he was first fighting, he wasn't doing that. When he was explosive, Mike, I happen to know for a fact that you're not the same person once you consume some stuff. It slows you down a little bit. As far as boxing, if you smoke a lot of tree before a fight, it's going to slow you down a little bit, even if you train that way, because your reflexes are dampened a little bit when you smoke. And I've been around fighters, enough, in gyms, I sparred quite a bit too. And so I know from experience, for me, even if I train like smoking tree, because I've done that too. I've sparred, hard sparring too, like just going in there and going at it, smoking, And they even say, hey, well, it's how you train. And this was like a long time ago, right? Like over 10 years ago. But they say, well, if you train like that, then you can fight like that. If you spar like that, then you can fight like that. But, I don't agree with it, because I know that the times when I've been like crystal clear in sparring, I'm so much more alert. I'm not so much like tunnel visioned. I'm very aware of everything that's going on around me, of all the movements. I can respond. I can think quicker. I can react quicker if need be. So I hope that Mike Tyson goes in there just a little more clear-headed, so we can get some of that, old school Mike Tyson, that explosive Mike Tyson, because I know that there's a lot of you that want to see Jake Paul get knocked the fuck out. Right? And I'm one of them. I want to see old man Mike go in there and represent, for all the old guys. I really do. So I definitely hope that, that Mike doesn't take a dive. It's said that he's making like $10 million. So that's crazy. Why wouldn't you do it? It's a great business decision for both of them. But, specifically for Mike, if it's going to put $10 million in his pocket, big up to Iron Mike Tyson. This happens on July 20th. It's going to be at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And you may have heard that it's going to be like an MMA fight. There's going to be like weird rules. It's a heavyweight boxing match. I believe they're going to fight at heavyweight. And again, that's July 20th. And this is going to be on Netflix. And I'm not sure. I think it's going to be like pay-per-view Netflix. I don't know. So, but yeah. It's July 20th. That's going to be in the summer. So plenty of time before that goes down. Got about, 4 months? So you're going to have to wait to see the outcome of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson on Netflix. So, all right. So that's my time today. Follow me on all the socials, SA_Dockwell, DOCWEL. You can also look up my music on all the platforms. So if you have Apple Music, Spotify, whatever, it's SA_Doc, ESE space DOC. I also have music under Dockwell, DOCWEL. I got some old classic albums that y'all can listen to and enjoy. The YouTube is The Drop with SA Doc. Go ahead and add me on there. On TikTok is Sin City Doc or SA Doc. And so give me a follow, engage, comment, support, share. All right. And I'm out. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Drop with S.A. Doc. Peace.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.